Hi, my name is Jermaine with Good Ranchers, and I'm gonna give you the tips to make the best steak you've ever had. The first step in making an amazing steak is you wanna temper your steak. That means you're gonna get the steak to room temperature. So let it sit out for a couple of hours. So take the package out, obviously thaw it, take the package out, and let it sit on the counter so that you can get to room temperature. This allows for there to be even cooking throughout the steak, and you can get that really nice, beautiful sear on it. The second step too is try to pat dry your steak. You want to get your steak as dry as possible. That's what creates that really nice crust that you see when you go to a restaurant or a steakhouse. Step 3, seasoning. There's lots of ways to season your steak. You can marinate it. You can use a very strong flavor-forward seasoning like a smoked paprika or garlic sauce. But the truth is, when you have high-quality steaks, all you need is a little S&P. So what I want to do is take a pinch of salt, and normally I like to use some sort of salt container or what they call a salt pig to grab a piece, because everybody knows what a little bit of salt can go a long way. But with a steak, you want to make sure, because there's a lot of good fat, that really good intermuscular fat on this, you want to put a little bit more salt than you think you need. That salt's really going to bring out some of that umami, that big beefy flavor. And then obviously we're going to use some pepper here. Give it a little bit of seasoning. Going to flip that steak over. We're going to do the same thing again. Like I said, put a little more salt than you actually think you would need, and then pepper it as well. So then what you want to do is you want to get your grill. I like to get the grill as hot as I can get it, right? So I start off by throwing the steak on the hottest part of the grill so it'll get that nice sear, and then what I'll do is I'll pull it off after a couple of... Wow, did you see that? Dude, like an ember just like shot. That was nuts. Yeah, so I'm going to take the steak and I'm going to throw it on the hottest part of the grill over here. You're going to get that nice sear. Let's get in here close, see if we can hear it. Ah, that's a beautiful sound in the steak world. All right, one of the other tips too is you don't want to just continually flip a steak. You see that nice little, you got those nice little grill marks. You can start to see there's that searing there. And so what we want to do is you only want to flip your steaks a couple of times. If you're just constantly turning it, you actually don't get that even cooking like you would do. I know a lot of people love to see that beautiful cross hatch with the grill marks or those sear marks. So what you'll do is typically on your second flip, you want to just turn it at about 45-degree angle from where you are originally, and it'll give you that nice little cross hatch mark on there. So I'm gonna let this sit for about a minute to a minute and 30 seconds so that we can get that nice sear on there. And then what we'll do is I'm gonna pull it off onto the cooler side of it, and I'm gonna let it finish to get to about 125 to 130 degrees. I love a medium rare steak. I mean, are you really eating steak if you cook it any more than that? But the temperatures are about 125 to 130 for medium rare, 130 to 135 for medium. Anything over that, just don't even cook a steak. Okay, so it's been about a minute and a half here on this high temp. You'll see again, look at that beautiful sear right there. And then I'm gonna put it off. So we're using here is like it's called a 2-zone fire. So we have the really hot side. We push all the coals to one side of the grill. And this is another actually tip when you're grilling a little bit of a thicker steak. It's trying to create what's called a 2-zone fire. So what you do is push all your coals to one side. So that's your hot side, and then you have your low temperature side on the other side, that's the zone 2, so that you can push it over and get it to the temperature that you need. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take the green egg here and I'm gonna close it. I'm gonna let it get to temperature, and then we're gonna check it back here in about 2 minutes to see where we're at. All right, it's been a couple of minutes sitting in here, so I'm gonna open it up, take the steak off, and one of the biggest tips I can give you is when you take your steak off the grill, let it rest. It gives time for all of that great juices and that flavor to kind of settle back in, so that when you cut it into the steak, all that flavor just doesn't pour out and stays in the meat. So we're gonna let this rest for about 5 to 10 minutes. We're gonna come back and cut it, and let's see how well I did on the green egg. All right, so we've let the steak rest for about 10 minutes here. It's looking beautiful. The last tip here is when you're going to cut your steak, you want to try to cut across the grain. It kind of just gets it a little bit easier bite when you're serving it. So we had a ribeye here, which the unique thing about a ribeye is it actually has grains go 2 different ways. You have this top part, the spinalis, that the grain runs one direction. This to me right now is my favorite bite. The spinalis, this top piece, is the best piece of steak I can ever have. And then you have kind of the heart of the ribeye, which runs nuts. Like I said, with Good Ranchers, all you need is a hot fire and a little S&P, and you will have the best steak you can ever make.